Hi, buddy. Jeff again here. I'm looking at an email from someone that contacted me about creating connectors for content management systems to be able to work with translation management systems or globalization management systems. And it's kind of interesting. I've worked on these things, right? So I remember, working on TMSs, translation management systems, probably about 15 years ago, and looking at the landscape of the content management system, CMSs. And there were like 4,000 of these things, right? So, and the company I was working for, we had dedicated plugins for certain CMSs with certain TMSs to be able to work with our system, well, with our TMS, because when you're doing this, you got to aim at those that want to spend the money on this kind of thing, right? For having kind of a large scale CMS and TMS kind of system. And I remember going around and talking with smaller companies, and they had all these like homegrown CMSs or small kind of, lesser known CMSs. And trying to talk with them, they had no budget to want to talk about doing a plugin. Just no budget for that. And it was kind of hard some of the CMSs at the time, you couldn't even extract the content out of it. It was kind of hard because it was all locked down. It wasn't open enough. It wasn't open enough to be able to do this thing, right? To extract out the content, pump it back in, put it in another object, a bunch of other objects, in the system. It wasn't made for that. So now I see an email come from someone that says, hey, that, if you got a CMS and they start, naming the vendor zoo as kind of big with all the CMSs and all these ones. And the ones they're citing are they're not really big ones, right? Well, some are, but some are kind of small ones. I know small shops, small businesses that have even, people, individuals, freelancers that use these type of CMSs or website stuff. And they wouldn't have any money to buy an extractor or for a content extractor or plugin to work with any kind of TMS or GMS. I mean, the kind of money that we're talking about, that no one's going to spend that kind of money doing that. So this gets down to I think I know what happens is when people choose a CMS because it's free or because it's cheap or inexpensive, I know a lot of small business that do this, right? And then they realize they want to go multilingual, and then they go, but then how do you get the content out, or how do you create the clone images for the clone instances for the translation objects? And it's like, you can't do this, or it's kind of complicated to do this. Or we got to do this manually. I mean, my local music store down the road, he uses a little content management system. I talked to him yesterday, and I asked him how he was doing it, and he told me what it was. But he says it takes a lot of time because it's all small objects. It's not integrated with anything else. And when you update, you got to update everything. You got to update this. You got to update that. So one of the problems he had was the price was wrong of a guitar he was selling that he was sending to someone. And the price on the tag on the guitar inside the shop was more than what was on the website that someone bought it for. Because he's got to go in manually and change all these things one by one. Kind of like putting stickers. Well, it actually does. These kids put the stickers on the stickers on the objects in the article, the items inside the store for him, right, on Wednesdays or whatever. When they come in, he kind of has them, kids keep busy with that, having fun, right? But this is not simple. I think, saying, hey, okay, sure, say, do you've got these kind of CMSs, do you want plugins so you can do multilingual? Yeah, the amount of work to do it, cited plus the cost, that's a lot of money. It can be done. But I think what need to do is the better thing, which is has been said many, many times, it's hard to do, is to get early in the cycle, to be caught early enough the cycle before the people make the decisions of taking a CMS and buying and licensing a CMS, or or choosing to have a free one, to see if they want to be going multilingual, and help them that thing and say, well, look, you want to think about the scalability of this thing later on, and if you want to do it, then you'll have something that is easy to integrate rather than having to do all these, set additional extractors and plugins with APIs and all these connectors with middleware. Come on. No, I'm not. It's good to offer it, but it's going to be hard to get people to pay for it. So it's just my thoughts for the day on that. And for those that are selling these things, kudos to. I mean, it's hard to do this, right? It's hard to do it because you're dealing with people that it's an afterthought, right? When they got to do translation at this level, when you got to have these middleware connectors, it's like an afterthought, and then it gets to be expensive, and that's where, it'd be good if there were other middleware things that you could kind of connect to kind of work with these other CMSs, but then someone's got to fund that. So, yeah, this is something to think about for this field, because it applies everywhere. To translation applies everywhere, folks. I walk down the shopping malls thinking, gee, I could sell to any of these folks if they got any websites and stuff. Easy to do. Well, it's hard to do it. You got to do it. You got to do the work, but it's applicable everywhere. So it's an open market with tons of opportunities. It's just finding the right way to be able to approach it and finding the right budget that people want to spend. And so that gets down to all the fun of selling in this field. Have a good day.